Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the Christmas special. Today we're basically painting a Christmas painting of this hedgehog that I did a little while back. Oh, I started about a week and a bit ago, but it's this Henry the Hedgehog based on, he's based off the book that I've been creating, writing and illustrating for the last probably couple of months now. I'm up to page 4. It's been a little while since I've worked on that project. It is a personal project, and this was just a side thing. I thought this year I wanted to do a Christmas stream as usual, because usually I have a Christmas stream of some sort. Last year I just kind of drawed a pug with a riding a llama, so it was like a fun kind of Christmas stream with my mates. This year though, unfortunately we couldn't get anyone in really for this, unfortunately, but it was okay because I thought I'd just say Merry Christmas to everyone and everyone that's gonna watch this, and just talk about a few things here and there. This channel has grown quite a little bit this year. It's definitely last year I did less streams, and they definitely were like less regular. It was only when I was like, I was kind of starting out. I was still trying to find what I was actually doing on YouTube, like sorting out like what kind of videos I was making. I wanted to do tutorials at the start of this. I did a few tutorials, and then I did live stream paintings, and then I decided to get people in to chat with on my videos, and then that led to me getting artists in from around the world, which was awesome. It was the greatest thing that happened, and yeah, it was really awesome to have that experience, and it's been amazing having all these artists in. I've just had Mozcade in. I've had him in a few times. I think I had Corey Express this year. I had him last year. I had Now Falcard in. I don't think it was last year. Travis J. Hansen. I'd like to get him in again. I think possibly I'm looking at next year. See what he's up to, and if he can join me for a stream. I mean, a lot of these artists that I do get in, they get busy, like they get a lot of commissions and things going on. I had Deviant Soulmates a couple of weeks back, which was an awesome. She was doing lots of Christmas themed commissions, which was really cool. It's nice to see that kind of stuff, that ordering themes and stuff. It's interesting. Like, this is a theme, this is Christmas themed, so it's really interesting. And I've had quite a few in. I've had Turnip Berry, I had Comic Queen, and another, her twin sister, if I can remember her name. I use usually their artist name on DeviantArt. Usually is what I kind of share, so you guys can find the artists. I've had Spectre Draws from New Zealand, Comic Queen, Nikon Tashu is the one I'm thinking about, Max de Pronov, Now Falcard, Nikon Tashu, Abyss Ismail, who's from Australia, Fedora, which is the group of Valentina and Z, and they were amazing to talk to. I also just had Zian as well, just him, and hopefully I'm thinking one day I might also just have Valentina as well, because I did that in one of the streams where I had Nick and Tashu, and then I had Comic Queen, and then I had Nick and Tashu and Comic Queen. So those are always fun because you get to talk to one artist, then you get to talk to another artist, and then you talk to them together, and it's very interesting. It's always different, and it creates a nice, awesome video that you guys can enjoy as well. It's really awesome to get that kind of thing in. That was a first this year, and it's been awesome having that kind of thing happen as well. Sometimes there might be some of the artists that get in, they have artists that they know that might want to do it. There's some like that. But yeah, I mostly find them mostly off DeviantArt, because I used to use DeviantArt a load, but at the moment I haven't used it that much. I kind of just kind of look on the art pieces on there, see what artists out there. I use ArtStation mainly these days, and a lot of different, mostly Instagram and Facebook. I use them. I talk about in one video, I talk about how I do use them in different ways. I use Instagram differently to what I do ArtStation or DeviantArt. I post on DeviantArt. I used to post regularly, but I gave up, and I just kind of post what I feel would be alright on there. I haven't really posted on there for quite a few months, but I'm thinking I'll probably post this Christmas one on here, and maybe next year I might start posting on DeviantArt again, possibly. But yeah, I definitely use social media in different ways. And YouTube here, I post every week, obviously, so I have a weekly video coming out. I started that about, it looks like, up to 10 months ago-ish. I think around, it can't be that long, no. Hold up, no, it's about 3 months ago I actually started doing that. I released a trailer about 4 months ago, and then I started doing, I wanted to do weekly videos, so I did weekly videos, and that went really well. For the first 2 weeks, I had a failing one with Turnip Berry, and then I had a proper interview with Turnip Berry that went on. So that, I think that worked out quite good, and that pushed me to get all the content started and pushed and done, and then I just continued from there, and I had a weekly video from there. So I kept up, and yeah, it has been a struggle. It has been quite a challenge, but it's definitely way better than it was probably hitting 10 months ago maybe, because yeah, I only posted maybe one video a month. I did get to a point last year, I think I did get to a point where I did have like a video every week for a little bit. It didn't last too long, but it did last a little while, but it had a period where it was really slow, and then it had a few weeks of non-stop content, and then it stopped again. Like it was always chopping and changing. So it's good that now I'm doing it every week, and you guys can get to know a new artist every week, or just get to know me a bit better every week, get to know my work a bit better, just get to know what this channel is about as well, because it's hard when it's like every 2-3 weeks or something a video has come out. There's yeah, it's not exciting kind of a thing. So I really do appreciate you guys liking, seeing my videos, and yeah, sharing with any artist base you do have around. Yeah, subscribe to this channel. I really do appreciate all you subscribers. It's great. I get some of the artists that I talk to actually subscribe, and some of them watch the videos. yeah, I've had some amazing talks too. I think one that was really cool was Mixer Pronov. He's a game artist, and he talked quite a bit about perseverance and you know, being persistent, but also kind of looking at your art in a good way as well. Like you don't want to be so, oh, you know, my art's the best in the world kind of a thing, where you get stuck in a rut that you think, you know, everything you do is amazing, when it's, you know, it can be improved. Everything you do, you know, there's always going to be some sort of fault. Even, you know, the greatest artists in the world, there's probably some sort of slight fault in it. I mean, I think that for me at least, what I think is that you keep improving, but yeah, there will always be a small fault, but it's getting rid of as much faults as you can, you know. Like I definitely think that, you know, a couple years back, for like 4 or 5 years back, I would have had, you know, so many faults in my work, but these days I still have lots of faults. There's still faults there. Like I'm dealing with new materials here and there, like painting mud, painting nighttime scenes, painting characters, creatures. You know, there's all sorts of new things that come into play. Even in this painting here, I'm painting a random scene. Pretty much this is like with not much reference. Like I would have just looked at the reference and drawn from there. You know, I didn't really use it as I do normally with most of my characters and creatures and stuff. I usually use quite a bit of reference around with me, and that reference I have on screen with me, and every time I paint it's there. And you know, sometimes because it's quite small on my screen, because I've got a 14-inch or something, 14-inch I'm pretty sure, Wacom 13D, something like that. I think it's 14. But yeah, it's 2 or 3 years old. But yeah, it's quite small, so sometimes I might move it to my second screen and, you know, size it up a bit bigger so I can see closer to some of my reference, and that does help sometimes. But most of the time these days I'm not getting too caught up in the reference. Even with some of the reference I do show, that's not all of it. Sometimes it might be like I'm painting jeans. Like for instance, my texture studies, I'm pretty sure I did show some of the reference there, but some of the reference I didn't show. There's more jeans that I looked at for, say, painting the jeans. For this one, you know, there was I looked at Christmas tree reference, just looked a little bit into that and kind of painted it from my head from there. And I already know how to draw Henry the Hedgehog kind of a thing, so I didn't really need any I didn't need any hedgehog reference per se, although it might have helped. It might have turned it out a bit better if I did have my reference next to me. But you know, we're still finishing this paint off per se. But yeah, it's going good. I really enjoy you guys coming in. It's been great. Yeah, every year I have a Christmas stream usually. I think it was last year or the year before. It might have been last year. No, it was probably like last year. Well, it was the year before. So the year before, I pretty much announced that, you know, I was going away for Christmas. So I didn't do any streams for a little bit, and that was me. You know, I had from, you know, Christmas, went away for like a week or two, and then kind of slowly got back into the whole YouTube thing one by one, and then it started to really fold out, and I started trying to do it. I try to do it every week, but it didn't really work excuse me, it didn't really work out that well. You know, it's definitely a challenge to keep up with. I've talked about this in quite a few videos, how you know, I do have work, so I do have to go to work, and then you know, that I have to keep up with these YouTube videos, and that's my life at the moment. It's me trying to, you know, make some money for paying the bills and maybe some extra if I'm lucky, and painting and illustrating and looking after my family, kind of a thing, and you know, meeting up with friends and all that other stuff that goes on in the background. But you know, so it's quite a challenge to keep up. It's definitely tested my schedule, and it's definitely something I'm looking at keeping in the next year or two, maybe. I'm still looking at keeping on going with these videos. I'm gonna post every week, and yeah, so you know, I've got this Christmas stream, and then I will have my New Year stream. So we will, from there, we'll have 2 weeks to kind of catch up and do the next video for in 2 weeks time. And you know, that's the way I work. If I get a video done per se, or basically a painting finished, that can give me 1 or 2 weeks depending on what I'm going to do with that video. For instance, I had my traditional piece that I finished this year. The video is called Using Different Mediums with Comic Queen, and with that one, that was a traditional art piece. So that took probably 2-3 months to do, but it was in the background, so it was doing all my other art streams. But that took 2 or 3 months to do. But then, you know, once I finished the piece, I was done with that piece, and then I headed on to my book, page 2 of my book. You know, it created a week where I had a week's to catch up, basically, kind of a thing. You know, once I've finished a piece, it gives me a week to make another piece, but pretty much, or at least part 1 of a piece. For these videos, I usually break them up. I do that mainly because I have to do it. I'm doing it every week. It's very hard to finish a piece every week, because with every piece there's challenges. There's like there's the initial trying to get it down on the Photoshop or pencil paper, depending on how I work it out, and then I have to put it into Photoshop if it's already not in Photoshop or whatever. Once I've got it into Photoshop, I start painting it up, and then I've got to figure out the shading for everything, how the texture is going to look, and even then it's like I still can see in some of my pages I need to go back and fix some of how the grass looks and how some of the garden area kind of looks. It's not, to me, I'm not 100% happy with it yet, but it's definitely, you know, it's a big start. It's better to, which I have talked about a bit, is it's better to have something to work off than, you know, not start it at all, kind of a thing. You know, you've got to have something. Even with this piece, I was struggling. You know, I'm not the greatest at painting mud, but you know, I gave it my all, and I mean, for this piece, I'm not too fussy. I'm just kind of, hey, it's a Christmas painting that I can just be like, hey, Merry Christmas with, because I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone that's been on streams, all the artists that have been on. So it's just a happy, fun painting. I'm not too worried if, you know, the mud looks bad or if the floor looks bad, because this is just happy and fun, kind of a more after the emotion in the piece. Yeah, and that's another thing, is actually portraying the feeling of the piece can be more important than the actual 3D-ness of it, per se, the realistic of it, of the picture. I mean, getting something realistic is great. It does help portray, but if you don't, if you have a sucky idea and you have a epic drawing, people would just be like, oh wow, and then move on. Like if it has an interesting or a story to tell, but not so great realistic, people might be like, oh, what's that storytelling, and question it, and there's a line somewhere there that you've got to find. I mean, I want these paintings to be as realistic as possible to tell the story, but they have their own style per se, and yeah, and some things I'll learn along the way, and I've got to go and fix them up, and it's like the other day I just got pointed out the solar panel lights, and it's like, oh, I was thinking, oh my gosh, the one thing I forgot to put on them was if the solar panel lights, they should have like solar panel beams on them, so that's something I will have to change, I think, in all the paintings. It's only like the fourth page that I've done now, so it's better to go back and fix those up than to leave it and keep doing it. And yeah, that's something good, is seeing your mistakes. It's easier to see your mistakes when you're like starting out in a painting. So black and white might be easier. It's quite good. I used to, when I was at course, basically my sketch or drawing that I was started, I basically, we learned a lot, like we would start drawings again and again, kind of a thing, and that's how I kind of got in that whole process of not using a eraser. I have used it. I do use it like sometimes on my like final drawing, or something like that. But I won't use it when I'm starting out. I kind of draw something, and if it's not good, I just draw it again, kind of a thing, and I work from there. And we learnt that at course. We did a drawing, then we did another few drawings. We did like 5 minute and half an hour, and then hour studies of it. And then from there we did like a tonal study of it, and then from there we did like tonal study with a little bit of colour on it, and then from there we did a full colour on black paper or something like that. Sometimes we got it on black paper, and then we did a full on white paper, full colour drawing of it. And each one did take its like different times, like some took 5 minutes, some took half an hour to do, some took an hour to do, some took a little bit more to do, and then the final drawings, like the one on black paper and the one on normal traditional good paper, those ones would take a while. They'll take about me about 2 weeks maybe. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, it would take about 2 weeks, so for that to do ish, for each of them ish. It depends on, because it's not the only thing I do. At the time it wasn't the only project I was doing, so I'd be doing the other projects, then I would do my drawing, and sometimes we get to break it out to whatever schedule kind of thing. I mean, there was somewhat of a schedule because you know, he had deadlines at this course. It really did, you know, teach me quite a bit about time management, you know. Yeah, one thing was, you know, you had certain meetings you had to attend, you had deadlines, and things like that. But you had like so many different assignments to do. Usually I would have 2 or 3 assignments to do a week, and usually each 2 weeks one of them would go in some formal way, depending on how long it is. Some took like 2 or 3 months to finish, others just took a couple of weeks for me to do. I definitely felt like at the start I was just chewing through them because they were like very basic, kind of, well, they weren't basic, but they were, you know, I already knew the stuff, so I could just chew through them quite easy. So I was starting off the course just chewing through all these projects, and you know, everyone's looking at me like, oh my gosh, she's finishing all these projects. And I was getting chucked projects here and there. I nearly got into like a second year project, but in the end I wasn't allowed to do that project because it was a second year project. So yeah, I really just pushed it, because it was, you know, it's my first year. I really did enjoy it that year, doing posters, drawings, just creating lots of stuff. It was just it really pushed it, and I learned a lot, and it was amazing. And yeah, you know, that learned a lot about time management. I mean, I did it for 5 years. I did the 2-year course and then a 3-year course, and each project, you know, gets bigger and different, and certain obligations to fill. I did talk a bit about this in one of my videos where I was talking about you know, certain projects had restrictions, and then you know, then they take away those restrictions, which is an important thing. You know, you need to learn a lot about the rules first, before you can break them. Even on YouTube here, there's all these rules about, you know, creating thumbnails, creating titles, creating YouTube channel banners, creating your certain you know, like, share, subscribe kind of a thing. You know, there's all these interesting rules that will help you out. They're not exactly rules, but you know, they will you know, build your channel up kind of a thing, if that's what you're gonna try and do. So same with art as well. You know, you've got the rules, you've got the color, light, line, shape, form, structure, lots of these fundamentals. Bobby Chill just did a video about the fundamentals, so if you're really stuck with what the fundamentals are, go check out that video. It's called, I think it's the fundamentals, what are the fundamentals of art, on Bobby Chill's channel. Yeah, that really was cool. I watched it, and you know, he talked a bit about structure in that one, and how that is in everything. But yeah, there's different fundamentals for different things as well, he was saying. And yeah, I started off learning the fundamentals in when I was 14, 15, at school. We basically just learned like it's more design class, but we were learning like line, form, shape, you know, the key fundamentals. and in drawing classes, you know, we were learning drawing spheres and 3D objects, and I was doing also graphic art, which was just like design and all that stuff that you use rulers for. I really dislike using rulers. I was really against it. I really like to just draw from my hand without any reference lines, but it was a good learning curve. It would take me a while though, because I was really, you know, disliking it, and obviously, you know, if I was that kind of teenager back then that was like, oh, if I don't like it, I'm not going to do it, kind of a thing. But it was helpful, really helpful, to learn, and I did do it, you know, did do pass all that stuff. But it was a really struggle, and it took me a while to actually do stuff. There was all the math questions I had to do, you know, you had to measure out how long you had to draw things to scale. So if you want to draw a truck, you had to draw it to somewhat of a scale. So say if it's if it's a toy truck or something per se, and you're drawing it half the scale, you'd have to actually measure the truck and draw it half scale. Or say, you know, you're doing the same thing with a toy. You know, you're looking at a toy, you'll measure the toy, and then you'll twice the size it. So you had to do all the math with that, which was another aspect of it I didn't like. You know, all the things. It would have helped if I had some perspective lines in this painting. You know, some of the boxes might have looked a bit better, and it might have popped out a bit more, but I mean, for me, this was just a fun painting. I only had like about less than a week to finish. This was just a painting I was meant to finish in one day, kind of a thing, but I ended up pushing it, and I did it in like 3 or 4 days. 3 or 4 days. You know, it was probably 1 or 2 full days on it, and then a couple hours here and there until I finished it. Until I finished it and did the stream with it. But yeah, it's amazing. I actually filled this. I was a bit worried about filling this void of the video. You know, I fill these videos with talking with artists from around the world. I was a bit worried because it's just myself. I haven't done it with myself for quite a while, so it's good that I've lasted at least 33 minutes here. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. We're pretty much here just putting the final touches on and things like that. But yeah, putting the final touches is really hard. Sometimes I might think, I'll be like, oh, it's finished, and then, you know, I've got my partner here. Sometimes I might ask her, what do you think about this? And she might point something out, and I'll be like, oh. And then, you know, I'll do something else, and then I'll come back and be like, oh, yeah, okay. You know, like, they obviously made a good point there. It's not like this could be better, and I'm like, and then I change it. Eventually, I go back and fix it up. Which is good to have. It's good to have just someone to look at your art and be like, that could be better. Or, you know, I don't like the look of this, you know, but one of my tutors' advice for, you know, taking advice was that, like, this is more like a design wise thing. So with illustration, I don't fully know if it can apply. I know it can apply, but, you know, don't use it as your motto per se, you know, like, kind of thing. Don't follow it fully, but you know, she said, basically when taking advice, You know, it's not. Oh, this one I read on video. It's not exactly what the person looking at it says what's wrong with it. Like, per se, someone might come up and be like, I don't like this red hat, can you make it a green hat? It's not the thing that's wrong with that is not necessarily what the person saying it's a green hat, it should be a green, I mean it's a red hat, it should be a green hat. You know, you'd be like, what? But it definitely means that you know, that red hat you've got on is not exactly looking appealing. So, but it doesn't mean that it has to, you know, it has to go and change it to a green hat kind of a thing. You know, everyone just makes suggestions, especially, you know, sometimes these people aren't exactly artists themselves, and you know, sometimes they are even artists, but each their own, because everyone has their own work and their way of working, and way of processing as well. So, you know, someone might draw something different from you, completely different, and you know, you gotta I don't worry about too much about style per se, but you have your own flair kind of a thing, and that's one I talked about in another video with Mozcade, is we did talk a bit about, like, you know, style and how that kind of worked out. I think it was with Mozcade. Yeah, I did with Mozcade, how, you know, he feels that I have a strong style of mine, and yeah, I feel like I do now. I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, and I don't mean to have a style, I just paint it the way that I paint it, and that's how it ends up, and I can't help it. I mean, some of the stuff obviously I do need to improve on, like my King Cheetah character that I created a few months back. One of the videos it features is positivity is key with Nico Tashu, and the other one's learning skills with Abyss. So there's part 1, part 2 basically of that series, and that was a challenge to do the fur. You know, doing human animal anamorphic kind of character is kind of different for me. You know, my characters don't really stand like humans per se usually, and I'm not that great with human anatomy anyway. So that one and the one before it as well, which was the fighting character that I had up, that I was painting up, and those also involved a lot of texture. So, you know, after that I decided to do some more texture studies, because I felt like the textures in those paintings weren't that great, and I could do better, but I felt like the textures were okay. You know, they portrayed what the fabrics were and what they were made out of and things like that, so, you know, they somewhat look okay, but I still felt like they needed some more work on them. But yeah, that's been the Merry Christmas stream. I hope you did enjoy it. We will see you in the New Year stream, and then that'll be it for the year, and we'll see you in the next year. So everyone, I want to thank you, everyone. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and I'll be in the New Year stream to wish you a Happy New Year as well. Have a safe and happy Christmas. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.